We rolling, we rolling. All right, we on. All right, we good. All right, okay. So look, this here is 1A. We have two problems for 1A that I'm going to teach you today, and the first one, is asking about the function families. All right, so to identify the function families of these problems that it's asking, first you must look and you must remember from this chart here. You can just take a look. Let's take a look at this one right here. So you can see that the line kind of goes up like this, like in this upwards fashion. When it asks for the function family of that would be an exponential function. And the reason being is because it is exponentially increasing upwards. So I'm going to go ahead and put exponential. It is showing exponential growth, and it's increasing at an increasing rate. So for this one, for 1A, so you could take a look at the graph here, and then you're going to look here, and it is actually if I can find it, a rational. So a rational, you can identify it by like the two, the vertical and horizontal asymptotes. You can see how it kind of like splits like this, right? This would be a rational, for this one here, for the function family. So let's move on to the next one. The next one is asking us for question 2 for 1A is asking us to circle all of the functions. Now, to identify if something is a function, it must pass the vertical line test. Okay, so this here is a linear line right here, a linear graph. And so basically, to do the vertical line test, all you have to do is basically just see if the point touches, if the vertical line, if it touches 2 or more points, then it's not a function. So you can put the line through here, and you can see right here that this is actually a function, because the vertical line only passes through the line one time. And we can check it on this here too. You can see that it passes the vertical line test because it only passes through this line one time. So these two are actually functions. But when you take a look at this one right here, and you do the vertical line test, you can see that these are actually not functions. These are actually not functions because the vertical line test, it fails the vertical line test because it's passing through 2 or more points, as you can see, and that should not happen. So when it says circle all functions, these two would technically be function, and this one would not be a function. So welcome back to episode 2, y'all. You know what I'm saying? So for today's lesson, I'm going to teach y'all about 1C, and 1C is all about identifying discontinuities. All right, so first off, you have to know about the 3 different types of discontinuities in order to identify them. That's obvious. So right here we have a removable, a jump, and an infinite, and I'm going to explain what those are right now. So a removable would be a point like this. See this dotted point right here? It is just a simple dotted point like this somewhere on the graph, right? And I'll tell you how it is different from a jump, right? So to identify a jump, right? So we look here, you can see here that there's like 2 points, there's like a gap between them, right? And that would count as a jump discontinuity because you basically jump from one point to another. It looks like you jump from one point to another, and there's a line behind it that continues on. So you can see the jump right here with the gap. With the removable, there is no gap, you know, it's just there, you know. And then let's look at infinite, right? So to identify an infinite point, right, you have to look at this line here. And once you take a look at this line, all you have to do is just look at and see where it intercepts with the x-axis right here. And that's how you identify an infinite, this dotted line here. So the question is asking to identify each discontinuity, right? So when you identify them, it's going to always be x equals because it's on the x-axis, right? So the first one here is asking us to find a removable. So to find the removable, we look here on the graph, you see this line here, and you basically just look up, you see -1, -2, -3, and it's about -3, right? So you would do x equals -3. So that's a removable. And then for the jump, you'll look here on the graph, looks something similar like this, like I told you. And you can see here -1, -2, -3. This is -4 jump right here. So that would be x equals -4. And then for the infinite, you just look here and you can see where it intercepts with the x-axis here. And this would be 3. You can see 1, 2, 3. So that would be x equals 3. See, that is not too hard. It's pretty simple to catch on. So I have another problem for you for the second one here. This one is asking which type of discontinuity is this, right? So it's asking which discontinuity out of these three is this graph, right? It's not asking for any point or anything like that. It's just asking you to identify like what type of discontinuity it is, right? So we look here and it's obvious right off the bat. We can tell that it's not a removable, right? We can tell it's not removable. It's not the singular point. We can tell it's not infinite because there's no dotted line here. So it's obviously a jump, right? Because you can see from each point, it jumps to another point, right? So this question is fairly simple. It's asking you to write down what discontinuity is this. And if you remember them, you can easily put a jump discontinuities. And that's it for 1C. Thank you for listening to my TED Talk. Yo. What is up, y'all? I'm here with 3B. And for episode 3, okay. So, yeah, whatever this is called. I don't know why I'm saying episode 3, but I'm going to explain these two problems here for 3B, right? So, first off, this will require a little bit more work than the other ones. And I'm going to go through these with you to explain 3B. When you really get down to it, it's not too hard. It's actually fairly simple. So, well, the first thing you need is one of these. If you don't have one of these, then you're, you won't do so well. So this here is your formula sheet. Okay, so let's take a look at this 3B question, right? So I'm going to hide the bottom so I don't get confused here. So I'm going to take my time, show you how it's done. So for 3B, it says, circle if the ellipse is vertical or horizontal, then find the listed properties, right? So this is an ellipse equation, right? So you would look on your formula sheet and it should say ellipse right here. It says ellipse, there we go. And it is saying that you should, it says you could circle the ellipse vertical, then find the listed okay, so you check here. You have to figure out if this equation here is horizontal or vertical, right? So the way to tell that, right, is like you can see here it's a similar kind of formula going on here. If the A value is bigger, then it's horizontal. If the B value is bigger, then it's vertical, right? So this is the A value here. The A value is bigger than the 4, so that means this is actually a horizontal, right? So as you can see here, the A value 49 is actually bigger than the B value, so this will be horizontal. So this is the key. This is the first step. This is key to everything else, right? So now that you have, it says horizontal, you can figure out the rest of the equation, right? So let's go over these, right? So the easiest ones to start off with is the A and the B value, right? So how do you find out the A and the B value, right? So it's simple, right? So what you would do is you would take it's 49, right? And you would do like the square root, and that's how you would find the A value, and also the 4 for the B value, right? Because right now it's in it's A squared, so like we don't want it like that, right? So we would let me type this in to the calculator real quick. Let's see. 1 second. A little technical difficulties. Just give me a sec. So that would be, so this one right here would be 7 because that's the A value here. So we will put 7. And let's do the same thing for 4. Let's clear this out. Okay. All right, so this one would be 2 for the B value, right? So we're going to do 2. So you put this into your calculator with the square root symbol, right? So we have the A value and we have the B value, okay? Now that we have those two, we can also try to figure out the rest of these, right? So let's take a look.